All right, so these are some practice test questions I'm gonna run through. I can listen to while I drive around. When collecting a distribution sample for bacteriological testing, the person collecting the sample should allow the water to run for how long before filling the sample bottle? As long as necessary to permit clearing of the service line, 1 hour, 30 minutes, only a few seconds. Answer is going to be A, as long as necessary to permit clearing of the service line. The majority of failures on bacteriological samples are generally operator error. The volume of a cylinder with a radius of 5 foot and a height of 8 foot is 251 cubic foot, 328 cubic foot, 451 cubic foot, or 628 cubic. So volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times height. The answer is going to be D, 628 cubic feet. The volume of a 100-foot diameter tank that is 12 foot deep is 94,200 cubic feet, 98,600 cubic feet, 103,300 cubic feet, 285,200 cubic feet. Answer is going to be A. Again, volume is equal to pi r radius squared times height. Radius is half diameter. Chemical commonly used to raise pH is alum, it's calgon, chlorine, or lime. Answer is going to be D, lime. Alum is a coagulant. From what I've gathered in my studies, calgon is for hardness. It inhibits scale formation when water is heated. Chlorine is, of course, for disinfection. And lime is used in softening to lower the pH. Black stains on plumbing fixtures might be attributed to calcium, copper, magnesium, or manganese. Answer is D, manganese. Of course, calcium and magnesium are usually associated with hardness, lime scale. Copper, what I've seen for copper complaints, green water. And that water that contains elevated manganese may be colored, i.e. dark brown or blackish color, and often stains laundry and fixtures. 1 kilogram equals how many grams? 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Answer is C, 1,000. Milli is 1/1,000, centi is 1/100, deci is 1/10, gram is 1. Deca is 10, hecta is 100, and kilo is 1,000. I don't know other places, but Florida provides you with a formula sheet that would have all this on. The indicator organism used to determine contamination of drinking water is coliform, Giardia, iron, salmonella. Answer is A. 3 commonly used tests are multiple tube fermentation, Colli-Alert, and membrane filtration. Common BACT test. Packing around the shaft of a centrifugal pump should be in good condition indefinitely, kept as tight as possible, replaced once a month, tightened just enough to allow occasional drip of liquid. Answer is D. Water leakage is used for cooling and lubrication. The chemical symbol for iron is Al, Ca, Fe, Ir. Al is aluminum, Ca is calcium, Fe is iron, and Ir is iridium. C. 1 pound per square inch of pressure will raise water how many feet? Answer is going to be A, 2.31 feet. Head, the height of water, is pressure times 2.31 foot per pound. Static head is defined as energy of the motion of water, pressure due to the depth or elevation of water, pressure loss in line due to friction, all of the above. Answer is B, pressure due to the depth or elevation of water. What is the volume of a settling tank 100 foot long by 25 foot wide that is 8 foot deep? 16,000 cubic feet, 20,000 cubic feet, 5,000 cubic feet, 36,200 cubic feet. Volume of rectangle is length times width times height. Answer is going to be B, 20,000 cubic feet. What is used to detect chlorine leaks? 10% solution of aluminum sulfate, 10% solution of ammonium hydroxide, 10% solution of calcium hydroxide, 10% solution of sodium hydroxide. Aluminum sulfate is a coagulant. Calcium hydroxide is used in lime softening to adjust pH. Sodium hydroxide is used for pH control, or is soda. Ammonium hydroxide causes a white cloud when mixed with chlorine, so the answer is B. The pressure gauge reading at the base of a tank filled to the depth of 1 foot read how many psi? 144 psi, 62.4 psi, 0.433 psi, or 0.231 psi. Pressure, head foot, feet times 0.433 psi, C, 0.433 psi. Multiple tube fermentation tests consist of 3 distinct tests. In what order are they performed? Preliminary, confirmed, and completed. Preliminary, presumptive, and confirmed. Presumptive, confirmed, completed. Presumptive, preliminary, completed. Also, the multiple tube fermentation test is the oldest of the 3 detection methods. The other 2 are colloidal or membrane filtration. So the samples put in multiple test tubes with sugar water, a lauryl fructose is how it seems like it's pronounced. So the bacteria will eat sugar and produce CO2, which is the presumptive, which is the first step. If the gas is present after 48 hours in the incubator, that means you have coliform. So the confirmed test, they will take the positive samples and move it to another sugar solution that's filled with brilliant green bile, which apparently only coliform will produce CO2 in the bile test. It's more selective for what bacteria there is. 48 hours again, if there is a gas, you're positive for coliform. Then they do the EC plus MUG, which is E. coli methyl umbrylophyller D-glucuronide, which I obviously can't pronounce that word, which will cause fluorescence if E. coli is present. The completed test is rare because you already know it's positive before then, but it gets a little deeper and has microscopic analysis. So the answer on this one is C, presumptive, confirmed, completed. Chlorine gas is same weight by volume as air, lighter than air, higher than air only when under pressure, D, denser than air. Answer is D. Chlorine gas is 2.5 times heavier than air. Other properties of chlorine gas is strong odor. It's easily detectable smell, 0.2 to 0.4 parts per million. That's non-flammable or explosive, but it will support combustion. 1 part per million is short-term limit is about 15 minutes. 10 parts per million is immediately detrimental to life and health, IDLH. 30 parts per million, immediate chest pain and vomiting. 1,000 parts per million, death can occur in just a few breaths. Polyphosphates may be used in water treatment to retard corrosion and adjust the pH, calcium scale, reduce chlorine demand, reduce taste and odors. Answer is B, calcium scale. All right, calcium hypochlorite is formulated as Coagulant, gas, liquid, powder. Answer is D, powder. Chlorine leaks in metal containers tend to become larger, become smaller, remain the same size, or seal themselves. The answer is A, they tend to become larger. Determining the pH of water is one of the important tests of water quality. The results of pH indicate the chlorine residual, hydrogen ion activity, presence of coliform organisms, or the presence of iron. The answer is B, hydrogen ion activity. So for some reasons, pH is important. Water at the lower end of the pH scale can degrade pipes and taps, allowing toxic materials to seep into the water supply like lead. The pH level is too high, it can cause an unpleasant taste. Some extra information. Leakage from a packing gland should be approximately none, 1 drop per second, 1 drop per minute, 3 drops per hour. Answer is B, 1 drop per second. Again, leakage through a packing gland helps for cooling. Chlorine cylinder valve is thought to be leaking. If ammonia vapor is passed near the valve, the presence of a leak would be indicated by what? A loud noise, red vapor, rotten egg odor, smoke, D, white smoke. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube. Pull up for chlorine safety and see this. If a fire hydrant requires a nozzle pressure of 100 psi, how many feet of water, head of water, would be required to supply it? 231 feet, 63.3 feet, 32.1 feet, or 21 feet? And the answer is going to be A, 231 feet. Again, most, as far as I know, places formula sheet will be given. So the head height of water, feet, equals pressure, psi, divided by 0.433 psi per. The water main should be disinfected when the pipe is in the storage yard, after pipe is delivered to job site, after pipe is laid in place, at the manufacturing plant. Answer is going to be C, after the pipe is laid in place. More of a distribution question, but being water operator, you will be dealing with distribution systems. Carbon dioxide and water will decrease turbidity, increase turbidity, lower pH, raise pH. Answer is C, lower the pH. It's often used in lime softening and treatment process to lower pH. A pneumatic ejector lifts water from low points to higher levels. The device used to achieve this is an air compressor, axial flow pump, centrifugal pump, or a plunger type pump. A, an air compressor. I would consider these things like little sump pumps. Pressure is commonly measured in what unit? BTU, MGD, MGL, PSI. The answer is D, PSI. Mechanical seals are being installed in pumps because packing requires an undesirable amount of leakage that the seals will eliminate. Seals prevent cross connections with potable water. Seals will take more shaft misalignment than packing, or there is a shortage of good packing on the market. The answer is A, packing requires an undesirable leakage. If you have a mechanical seal, you don't have to deal with that. Which of the following items must be replaced when connecting a new chlorine cylinder? Air and water regulator, fiber washer, needle valve and seat, pressure regulator. Answer is B. It's going to be fiber washer. Honestly, anytime you break in a seal, any of the gaskets or anything, washers, you replace in general. Never should really use a gasket or washer again, especially in the pressurized. A major cause of pump and motor shaft coupling wear is discharge pressure too high, low suction pressure, misalignment between pump and motor flange, or worn out seal. Answer is going to be C, misalignment between pump and motor flange. Filters in water treatment process are primarily used to remove or reduce what? Calcium and magnesium, color, taste and odor, or turbidity. Calcium and magnesium is generally going to be lime softening. Color, activated carbon. Taste and odor is also a lot of times activated carbon. So the answer is going to be D, turbidity. A water treatment plant receives an average flow of 261 gallons per minute. What is the daily total flow to the plant? 0.32 mgd, 0.38 mgd, 0.48 mgd, or 1.4 mgd. The answer is going to be B, 0.38 mgd. You're doing 261 times 60 minutes in an hour times 24 hours in a day divided by 1 million. That's what gives you the answer. Free chlorine residual in water is the amount of chlorine applied is measured in milligrams per liter. Chlorine in raw water as it enters a plant. Fluorides in the water, or uncombined chlorine that remains in the water after the chlorine has been applied and allowed. The answer is going to be D, the uncombined chlorine that remains in the water after chlorine has been applied and allowed to react. Breakpoint chlorination. The chemical name for muriatic acid is sulfuric acid, phosphoric acid, hydrochloric acid, or carbonic acid. Answer C, hydrochloric acid. A chlorine residual in water can be determined by using what reagents? Excuse my pronunciations, but I got DPD, EDTA, PCB, or sodium thiosulfate. The answer is A, the DPD reagent. EDTA is a hardness test. PCB, what I've found, is polychlorinated biphenyls, and apparently they're a group of made-main chemicals and contaminants that the EPA banned its use in the 70s. Apparently it still shows up in wells. And sodium thiosulfate is to neutralize or dechlorinate what's in back tea bottles. The most important use of chlorine in water is an aid to coagulation, algicide, disinfectant, or oxidant for iron and manganese. Answer C, disinfectant. An aid to coagulant is going to be like LUM or Cat C. An algicide, copper sulfate. What is the approximate volume in gallons occupied by 15,000 cubic feet of water? 22,100 gallons, 112,200 gallons, 120,000 gallons, or 210,000 gallons. 1 cubic foot of water is 7.48 gallons, and your answer is B, 112,200 gallons. The difference between the amount of chlorine added to the water and the amount of residual chlorine remaining at the end of a specific contact period is the dosage, free available chlorine, chlorine residual, or chlorine demand. Answer is going to be D, chlorine demand. Chlorine demand is the dosage minus the residual. So Water that requires a large amount of soap to produce an acceptable lather is termed corrosive, hard, soft, or turbid. The answer is going to be B, hard water. A pump may become damaged if it's started with the discharge valve closed if the pump is what type of pump? Turbine, positive displacement, centrifugal, or an axial flow? And the answer is going to be B, positive displacement. Sample bottles used for bacteriological samples contain sodium thiosulfate and should not be rinsed out before collecting sample because the sodium thiosulfate does what? Eliminates the need for refrigeration, holds the pH at a constant value, kills any pathogens that may be present in the sample, or it neutralizes any chlorine present in the sample. The answer is going to be D. The sodium thiosulfate neutralizes the chlorine that's present in the sample. So that if there is bacteria that will be able to grow, you don't want to continue to kill it because you are, again, testing to see if your water is contaminated. Velocity in a water main is usually expressed in terms of feet per second, gallons per minute, liters per foot, or milligrams per liter. They're usually expressed in the terms of feet per second. pH reading of 6 in a raw water sample indicates the sample is acidic, alkaline, basic, neutral. On pH scale, 0 to 6 is acidic, 7 is neutral, 8 to 14 is basic, so 6 is going to be acidic. The temperature of water in a stream is 10 degrees Celsius. What is the temp in Fahrenheit? 82 degrees Fahrenheit, 56 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 42 degrees Fahrenheit. To convert degrees Fahrenheit, it's Celsius times 1.8 plus 32. Give the answer 50. A graph sample represents the quality of water at the time the sample was taken, approximately 2 liters of water, a time proportional sample, or a flow proportional sample. Answer to that's going to be the quality of water taken at the time the sample was taken. The pH scale runs from 0 to 14, 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 1 to 15. Answer is 0 to 14. 5 gallons of water weighs 8.34 pounds, 37.5 pounds, 41.7 pounds, 83.4 pounds. 1 gallon of water is 8.34 pounds, times that by 5, you get C, 41.7 pounds. A flow of 35,000 gallons a day is what in million gallons per day? 0.35 mgd, 0.035 mgd, 0.0035 mgd, or 0.00035. 35,000 gallons divided by a million, and the answer is going to be B, 0.035 mgd. The most important factor affecting the useful life of piping is the ability of the materials used to resist internal and external corrosion, depth of the pipe, flexibility of the pipe, smoothness of the inside of the pipe. The answer is going to be A, the ability of the materials used to resist internal and external corrosion. pH value of 7.0 is considered to be acidic, alkaline, basic, or neutral. Maybe neutral. Again, 0 to 6 is acidic, and 8 to 14 is basic, 7 is neutral. The discharge pressure gauge on a pump reads 15 psi. This is equivalent to how many foot of head? 5 foot ahead, 10 foot ahead, 25 foot ahead, or 35 foot ahead. And again, the head height of water is equal to the pressure times 2.31 foot per square inch. Answer is going to be D. Fluorine is very corrosive when combined with alum, carbon, fluoride, or moisture. The answer is going to be D. So when chlorine gas is added to water, hydrolyzes rapidly, produce hypochloric acid and hypochlorous acid, and it will dissociate into hypochlorite ions and hydrogen ions. Because hydrogen ions are produced, the water will become more acidic. The pH of water will decrease, so chlorine and moisture be corrosive. What is the surface area of a clarifier 40 foot in diameter? 422 square feet, 630 square feet, 1,120 square feet, 1,256 square feet. The area is going to be 3.14 times the radius squared, or 0.785 times the diameter squared. And your answer is going to be D, 1,256 square feet. Chloramines are formed by the addition of chlorine and ammonia, liquid nitrogen, soda ash, sodium fluoride. The answer is A, ammonia. The purpose of a road meter is create a vacuum, maintain a smooth fluid flow, meter the flow of fluid, or reduce pressure. Answer C, meter the flow of fluid. A valve that joins a customer service to the water main is called bypass valve, control flume, corporation cock, or pressure regulating valve. The answer is C. I normally hear people call it a core stop distribution. When compared to a 1 million gallon reservoir at the same water elevation, how much pressure in the mains will a 100,000 gallon reservoir develop? Exactly 1/10 as much pressure, less pressure, more pressure, or exactly the same pressure? It's going to be exactly the same pressure. The key word is it's at the same elevation. Foot head would not change. What information must be on a warning tag attached to a switch or valve that has been locked out? Directions for removing the tag, name of the nearest physician in case of an emergency, signature of the person who locked out switch and who is the only person authorized to remove the tag, time to unlock the switch. The answer to this question is C, signature of the person who locked out the switch and who is the only person authorized to remove the tag. I would slightly disagree with this, because there are times where equipment is locked out on one shift and unlocked on another, so you have like a main key for everybody, but that's the answer on this test that I found on it. Which of the following types of meters has no moving parts? Propeller, proportional, rotometer, or Venturi? Answer is Venturi. The component of a centrifugal pump that is sometimes installed on the end of a suction pipe to hold priming is known as casing, drain, foot valve, or ventilator. It's going to be a foot valve. Coagulation and sedimentation alone cannot remove all the turbidity in suspended solids in raw water. The final step in the removal of suspended solids in water treatment is chlorination, filtration, flocculation, sterilization. The answer is going to be B, filtration, conventional water treatment steps, coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, and filtration. Water weighs 7.5 pounds, 8.34 pounds, 17.1 pounds, or 62.4 pounds. The answer is B, 8.34 pounds. These other numbers sound familiar when it comes to water. That's because 7.5 or 7.48 gallons per cubic foot. The 17.1, it's 1 grain per gallon equals 17.1 milligrams a liter. It's used for hardness. The grain per gallon The unit of water hardness defined as 1 grain, 64.8 milligrams of calcium carbonate dissolved in 1 U.S. gallon of water. So that's where you get the 17.1 parts per million. Also apparently called the Clark degree in terms of an imperial gallon. And a cubic foot is 62.4 pounds. Those numbers sound familiar. That's why, again, a lot of times you will have a formulation sheet when you're taking. Chemical symbol for sodium is Si, S, Na, or K. Answer is going to be C, Na. Si is for silicone, S is sulfur, and K is. Purpose of fluoridating municipal water is disinfection, improve taste and odor, help prevent dental decay, remove iron. You fluoridate the water to help prevent dental decay. Pressure is usually measured in cubic feet per second, foot pounds, gallons per minute, or pounds per square inch. The answer is pounds per square inch. Cubic feet per second is flow. Foot pounds is a unit of torque or energy. Gallons per minute is also. Chlorine valves are open and closed with any suitable wrench or pliers, pipe wrench and wooden mallet, a valve wrench provided with a cylinder or 1-ton container by the manufacturer, wrench is made from special non-sparking alloy. Answer is going to be C. And chlorine, they're talking about chlorine gas. What is the weight of a cubic foot of water? 1.55 pounds, 8.34 pounds, 7.48 pounds, or 62.4 pounds? The answer is D. A cubic foot of water is 62.4. When opening and closing valves in high pressure lines, the valve should be opened rapidly and closed as rapidly as possible. Open slowly and close slowly, open rapidly and close slowly, or open slowly and close rapidly. And the answer is B. You should always open them slowly and close them slowly because water hammer, which can cause breakages in your pipes. A hyperchlorinator is used to feed what into the water supply? Hyperchlorite solution, chlorine gas, chloramines, or all of the above? The answer is A, a hyperchlorite solution. Chlorine gas uses a vacuum, and chloramines are made by adding ammonia to chlorinated water. 1 cubic foot of water contains how many gallons? 1.55 gallons, 7.48 gallons, 8.34 gallons, or 62.4 gallons? And the answer to that is 7.48 gallons per cubic foot. One of the purposes of a water storage tank is to increase the oxygen content, improve the taste, increase the carbon dioxide content, or supply water at peak demand. And you are supplying water at peak demand. Mud, silt, clay, and other suspended matter in water that cause it to appear murky are called cloudiness, hardness, turbidity, turbulence. Answer C, turbidity. If the pressure gauge at the bottom of a 200-foot standpipe reads 68 psi, what is the static head in feet? 86 foot, 143 foot, 157 foot, or 200 foot? The answer is 157 foot. Again, formula for head is pressure times 2.31 foot per square inch, or you can do the pressure divided by 0.433 psi. The volume of a sample should depend on what the test the sample be used for, type of water being sampled, size of the container, how many samples are needed. And the answer is what the test the sample will be used for. A pump needs new packing when no more packing will fit into the stuffing box, there is any leakage from the packing gland, no more packing can be added, when the gland follower is pulled all the way down, And the answer to that is when the gland follicle is pulled all the way down. Sodium hypochlorite is a compound that can be purchased in liquid solution and be used for disinfectant, dry neutralizing powder for chlorine burns, gas delivered in 100 to 150 pound and 1 ton cylinders, the salt that is formed when hydrochloric acid is neutralized by sodium hydroxide. Answer to that is sodium hypochlorite is a compound that can be purchased in liquid solution and be used for disinfectant. A lot of places, from what I understand, have gotten away from chlorine gas because of how dangerous. Gas chlorinators, when operated at a high rate of withdrawal from the chlorine cylinder, can result in an explosion, ice formation on the chlorine cylinder, no effect, or overheating of the gas cylinder. And the answer of that is ice formation on the chlorine cylinder. When a single water sample is reported as safe, this may be interpreted to mean that the water supply is adequately protected, that the water supply may be regarded as safe until additional samples are requested by the city health officer, that the water supply was safe at the sampling point at the time of sampling, or none of the above. Answer to that is the supply was safe at the sampling point at the time the sample was taken. This is why you take monthly samples based on population. In loading or unloading 150-pound chlorine cylinders, hand trucks should be used that are equipped with a retaining or safety chain, a sling, positive traction wheels, safety features approved by OSHA regulations. That's going to be a retaining or safety chain. Don't want the tank to fall off while you're moving. The letters or units GPM appearing on flow rate stand for gallons per man hour, gallons per mile of sewer line, gallons per minute, and GPM is gallons per minute. The amount of dissolved oxygen that can remain in water depends primarily on water temperature, sunlight, pH, or other constituents, and that is a water temperature. A flow rate of 1.55 cubic foot per second is how many GPM? 150 gallons per minute, 384 gallons per minute, 569 gallons per minute, or 696 gallons per minute. And the answer is D. 1 cubic foot of water is 7.48 gallons. So we would do 7.48 gallons times 1.55 cubic foot per second, and there are 60 seconds in a minute. What is the chlorine demand if the residual is 0.6 milligrams per liter and 6.6 milligrams per liter has been applied? 1.1 milligrams a liter, 4 milligrams a liter, 6 milligrams a liter, or 7.2 milligrams a liter? And the answer is going to be 6 milligrams a liter, because put in 6.6, and 6 was destroyed, leaving you 0.6. 6 was what was. The most effective pH range for iron and manganese removal is 6 or less, 7, 8 to 9, or not applicable to the constituents. The answer is 8 to 9. How many gallons per minute is a flow of 1 million gallons a day? 521 gallons per minute, 681 gallons per minute, 195 gallons per minute, 813 gallons per minute. The answer is 695 gallons per minute. A million gallons divided by 24 hours in a day divided by 6 minutes in an hour. Disease-producing organisms are commonly called inorganics, microbiota, pathogens, protozoa. Pathogens. 1 pound per square inch pressure will support a column of water that is how many foot high? 1.55 feet, 2.31 feet, 7.48 feet, or 8.34 feet, and the answer is 2.31. Vent openings on reservoirs and clear wells should be chlorinated frequently, provided with overlapping cover, sealed during the winter, or screened. Answer is screened. You don't want animals getting into your clear wells or reservoirs and dying. You are chlorinating a well supply, and the chlorine demand jumps from 0.9 milligrams per liter to 3 milligrams per liter. This is indicative of weak chlorine, pollution, more water being pumped, or all the above. And the answer to this one is B, pollution. Water, pretty significant demand jump.